So I'm going to show you guys how to do the Scuf mod at the same time as I'm doing the LED mod, because I would have to take apart the controller again and then re-show you guys. So as you can see, this is the 3rd generation controller because the front button face plates are over here and here. So you're going to want to take your Remap board, which I'll put in the description below to buy one. And this one's made for either the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd generation controllers. So since this is the 3rd one, I don't need this bottom part right here. So where you see the line, this white line, you just want to cut it with your scissors. So once you cut it, it'll look like this. And the way you want to put it on the board is where all the white writing, you face it down, and then you place it over the little prongs that are around everything right here on both sides, just like this. You place it there and all the prongs are through the holes on the ribbon cable or the ribbon board. This is what it'll look like, and you just make sure it's in there nice and snug, and you push it down and make sure all the points are touching the other ribbon. And once it's in there, you just take your circuit board and you just place it down right on top of it and make sure that this doesn't move at all. Alright, so in order to do the analog LED mod, what you're going to want to do is, well, you're going to want to put 2 LEDs in parallel on both sides. And once you do that, you just run one side with a resistor and leave the side empty for now. And then you're going to connect all 4 of these together basically in parallel. And I tested to see if they were bright enough, and so far, yeah. So it looks good right now. And when you're doing this, you want to make sure that the wires that you're using to go around the whole analog stick, like what I did here, isn't touching the circuit board. And to do that, all I did was wrap it around with the LED wires, and I kind of crimped it like around so it's right on top. See how there's like a gap right there? And then I squeezed the wires around it, and it stayed up for long enough for me to glue it. And yeah, so I glued it in place, and now these LEDs will glow up the analog sticks. And then once it's good, you just put on your clear analog sticks. Once you put your circuit board back in on top of the flexible board, all you want to do is just fold this back over, so like this. Now yes, it'll like crease it. That's what you want. Don't worry, it won't snap or break or anything. It's made to do this. And once you do that, you can put a little bit of glue underneath, or maybe a piece of double-sided sticky tape. And yeah, so in order to do the buttons now, you're going to take your little micro switch. I have one right here. Here's a one that I've used before. And on one side, you're going to make one of these leads on there. They look like this. You're going to run a wire from there to your desired button. So either circle, X, triangle, square right there. And then you run another wire on the other lead on the micro button, and you run the other one to this ground. Now when you do that, when you press the button, it's going to activate it every time. And it's as simple as that. Alright, so I was recording the video and I was showing you guys how to do the paddle, the Scuf mod on the back of the controller. So it's like a pair of paddles, like the actual Scuf mod. But for some reason my camera just shut off and I didn't realize it. So as you can see, I did one side right here, and you can see the paddle, and you can see the buttons where I put right here. And if I just push down just the littlest bit, it activates the button and it works perfect. So if you want to do this, what you have to do is inside the controller, there's all this stuff. There's like all bracket things everywhere. Like in this one. See all this stuff right here? You want to cut all that out, or else your buttons won't fit. And when you cut all that out, you want to just take your drill and follow right up here. It's where your reset switch is, but on the other side, there's already going to be a hole in there. So what you want to do is you want to use that hole and then place your paddle over that hole to make sure that it's going to fit right in there perfect. And once you do that, drill a hole through it. Now you're going to want to do the same thing for the next hole. Hold it there and make sure it's perfect where you want it, and then drill that hole. And before you do that, you want to do your button first. The button is pretty straightforward. You just place it where you cut all that stuff out, and once you do that, you just glue it around, and then you make sure it still works. Make sure you didn't get any glue anywhere, just like that. And then you want to line your paddle up with these all 3 holes. And then once you do that, you just screw in your paddles, just like that. Alright, so now that you got your buttons glued in and everything's all set to go, now we got to go back to the remap board. With the remap board, you're going to want to put a little solder on each point. And the buttons that I'm going to be using are X and circle. So, as you can see, it labels it for you. X right here and circle right here. You're going to want to heat it up just a real little bit and put a little bit of solder on there. And then you're going to want to do 2 points where the ground is. So, I'm just going to do this point and this point, just to make everything easier. And you're going to run the wire from your O to one of the points on your button right here. You want to make sure that you're using this side of the button. So when you're holding the button this way, you're gonna solder it like up and down. So right here, you'll solder the O button, and down here you're gonna solder the ground button. So top and bottom. It doesn't matter which way you do the ground or the O, but just remember top and bottom, or else your button won't work. Same thing with the other side. You're gonna make one X, make that wire go to either the top or bottom on this side, and then one ground go to either the top or bottom on this side. I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'll show you guys how it came out. Alright, so here we go. I soldered all 4 wires up here. As you can see, the circle and X right there and right there. Those 2 are soldered down. And then the 2 grounds I did on the left side. Now I ran the circle, as you can see right here, and it goes to the switch over here. So I did it on the 2 side ones, up and down from each other. You want to make sure you do that, or else your button won't work. Then I did the same thing on this side. I did the X, and the X comes down and goes to here. And the same thing for the grounds, right here to here, right there to there.